Hello, my gorgeous little angels. How are we doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are discussing the UK's most hated mum.
Didn't realise I am the most hated mother, according to The Sun. What? This is the first I've heard about it. Also, what a title for just not wanting to give your kids sugar.
She was in fact branded that by some of our newspapers. She's really been living up to some sort of a reputation online. She really has. Her name is Montana Brown, and she used to be on Love Island UK. That is how she came to popularity. Okay, claimed fame. Love Island UK. She has since, I think the guy's name is Mark. She has two kids. She's got a 3-year-old and a little one. They've also in that time period opened up a wellness retreat, keeping holistic retreat in mind. It's called the Saltmore Hotel. It's located near Whitby on the coast. Montana advises that when you come and stay, you have a digital detox, which means no screens, because she does not like screens. Despite being an influencer, she did not like screens. And have a stay full of holistic activities, all catered for by the, what does she say? The proper Yorkshire charm that Southerners just don't have. Now, if you're not from the UK, there's a bit of a north and a south divide, meaning that there's like a stereotype that Southerners are meaner, colder, more distant, and the Northerners are more hospitable, friendlier, more welcoming, etc., etc. And it's so funny because as we're gonna find out through all of this, Montana's main thing is generalizing and trying to pigeonhole every single person she meets.
So, yeah, look forward to meeting a lot of you. I love Whitby people. They're so nice, so down to earth, just completely different breed, not like London. But yeah.
I'm also a southerner. I'm from the southwest of England, born and bred. So and I think I'm quite charming. Anyway. So since she has had her 3-year-old, she has really lent into this very holistic, crunchy mama way of doing things. And people have literally branded her the crunchy mum, Katie Hopkins. If you don't know who Katie Hopkins is, she's a very right-wing, gonna say the word bigot. She's a massive bigot. She's not very well received. She's not very well liked. The reason why people are calling her the crunchy mum version of Katie Hopkins is not necessarily because they share the same viewpoints. It's because Montana just will not stop. Like I said about generalizing terms, she loves to generalize. Yes, she does.
Is Montana from Love Island all right?
For me, I don't know, one black person who, one, can swim, two, would voluntarily go swimming, three, wants to get their weave, plaits, braids, wig, wet and dirty. It's just so, to me, it's just completely unbelievable.
Our girl Montana Brown loves to generalize. So we're going to go through her top 4 offences as of late. These have all happened over the course of a year, less than a year, I think, at this point. And it's the reasoning why newspapers have literally branded her the most hated mum on TikTok. Notice how I'm not saying the worst, but is she one of the most hated ones? Yes, she is. And it's funny because she was so well received on Love Island. So well received. People really liked her. I never watched her season. I'm not going to pretend that I did watch her season, but I do remember there was a lot of hype following her going on there.
So Mark and I have been looking at schools for Jude, and the most important things in my head is nutrition, quality of teaching, and use of screen time. Obviously, as you guys know, I don't give Jude any screen time whatsoever currently. When I send him to school, I don't want him to be watching a screen at all. And on a lot of these open days, they're talking about using Chromebooks for their homework as they get into the older years. I just feel like their time would be so much better spent on something else. I'd rather him be outdoors. I'd rather him be playing. I'd rather him be playing sports. For me, I don't want to send my kid to school for them to just be on a screen.
The first calamity for Miss Montana Brown is she came out last year and she made a statement saying she does not like screens, children with screens. Do you know what? I feel like we can really have a conversation here because, truth be told, I do think that we should be limiting just how much screen time young kids are getting. I think they said that kids under the age of 2 shouldn't be having prolonged screen time, and then you can add it on for specific benefits as they get a bit older. They actually came out with guidelines, right? So we can all pretend to follow them. But she said that the screens are damaging young people's brains. And she then instantly made the connection between schools and how there ain't no way, hell, hope, high water, sunshine, that these young kids, 4 to 5 year olds, should be having 1 hour of IT per week.
I don't agree with screen time at schools below the age of 14. When they go into reception and I hear that they have like 1 hour of IT a week, why? Like, we don't need kids to learn IT and technology at the ages of 4 and 5. They don't need to be ahead of the curve and be like touching on a screen and touching on a computer and learning how to use a mouse. I was like 8 or 9. I'm absolutely fine. I can touch type. I survived.
And she justifies this by saying that she should be the one to show them the screen, and that if she wants to watch a movie with them during the week, that 1 hour of IT is going to eat into her 2 hour film she had planned.
If I want to watch a film with him on the weekend, I want to know that he's not been using screens and watching films during school time, during the week, because then that makes me feel better. So, and I would feel better if he wasn't doing that. Like, at the end of the day, if someone's going to be watching a film with my son, it's going to be me.
She also makes reference to this book that she has been reading, which fair enough. I mean, she does say that she has been doing a lot of research.
All it's saying is basically, like, screen time is not good. Delay it as long as possible.
But the problem is that she takes something which yes, are screens, too much screens bad for little kids. I think too much screens is bad for all of us. But but she takes that and she then thinks, well, if it's so bad, we should ban it. If it's so bad, we should stop everyone from going on the screens, even though she is a social media influencer. She makes her money via looking at her screen. 5
children in a classroom of 30 are likely to have a mental health problem, and that's a stat from 2022. We don't even know like where we're going to be at in the next few years. I just feel like we have to protect our kids.
And does she post like once a day? Yeah, sometimes multiple on various different platforms. Yes, she does. And it's funny because even though you'll listen to these teachers tell her, hey, yeah, it's been in the school curriculum since 2014. We only do an hour. Anything excess out of that time, bear this in mind, this is like learning. Yeah? This is like learning stuff. Anything outside of that time, that's down to you. You can sort that out. And Montana comes back and says, since when did we need to give IT lessons to 4 to 5 year olds?
Before we even talk about screen time, we need to define what that actually means. Because if you're thinking that it's just a room full of kids zoned out scrolling through YouTube, that doesn't happen in schools. But for my own son, who's dyslexic, technology has completely transformed his education. Tools like text-to-speech, dictation, scanning app, they've removed barriers that pen and paper created. It's allowed him to access the same learning as everyone else, to actually show what he knows instead of being limited by how fast he can write.
And do you know what? I actually think that in today's society, it's very important because a lot of things are done online. There are so many jobs on the market, high paying, high reward, etc., jobs like coding, for example, really worthwhile careers. You need to be extremely savvy with computers, right? Learning how to use a computer is a skill, same as cooking. It might not fall in the same bracket, but you have to eat and you have to use a computer in today's society. It's just the way that it is. And if you think that's bad, this ain't nothing yet. Because she then came after the sticky toffee puds. Do you know what a sticky toffee pudding is? This is a sticky toffee pudding. It's right here. It's beautiful. It's delicious. It's got sticky and it's toffee, and it comes in this like toffee sauce that you put over it. If you've never had one, you need to have one. I know that some of our desserts, like you've probably heard of like spotted dick. I've never had a spotted dick before. The dessert. Or the actual thing. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at, right, you need to actually try that if you haven't tried it before. It's amazing. Shortly after her screen time, she then came after sticky toffee puddings.
Like, why do they need a sticky toffee pudding every day? Like, that would be strange if you went to work and one of your colleagues was like tucking into a sticky toffee pudding and like custard every lunch. You'd be like, so why do we do it for kids?
literally was just going on this rampage talking about what she doesn't like most about schools is the screen time, the lack of nutrition, the something something something, and she really focused in on the fact that the reasoning why there's an obesity epidemic is purely caused by young kids eating pudding every single day at school.
I am dead set that this is why all of us have had weight issues, and like it's so difficult to kind of wean yourself off like the sugar and all of this crap, because at school it was just the norm. You'd have pudding after pudding after pudding. And I am a firm believer that just kids shouldn't have pudding. They should have yogurt and fruit. And if they're still hungry after they've had their meal, they should be having extra protein.
Do I think kids having too much sugar is a bad thing? Yeah, like a majority of parents, I do think that. However, furthermore to the point, I have kids that go to school, unlike Montana, whose kids are not eligible for school yet. Since me and Montana went to school, because we are similar age, when we went to school, it is vastly different to what it is now. Okay, what it is now, or on what they get fed for their school lunches and their desserts, wildly different. When we were younger, we used to have the sticky toffee puds, we used to have the cake and the custard, we used to have the roly-poly jam, yeah, we used to have all of that. We also used to have cookies at lunchtime, banana milkshakes at lunchtime, and then Jamie Oliver came in and completely wiped it out. That's what happened. And then since then, especially in Wales where I live right now, they're literally having meetings again to get rid of custard. I think now they're getting rid of custard. You used to be able to get chocolate custard, strawberry custard when I was younger. Now you can only get custard, and they're thinking about taking that away as well. Okay, they are taking it seriously, but here's the thing, just like what happened with the screen time, Montana read, I don't know what she's doing, something about childhood obesity, then linked it to, okay, well, maybe that means that we shouldn't give them any sugar whatsoever. It's a bit like the screen thing. Okay, well, we'll just take it away. We'll just take it away. We'll banish it.
I would like to be the one to give Jude like sweet treats, and if he's at school 5 days a week, to me it's like they're at school from the ages of 5 to 18. So yeah, I do have an issue if he has like dessert every single day, because for me it's like unnecessary. It is like the majority of them are feeding kids like sugary stuff for dessert every day, and I don't agree with it.
Girls and guys, I think that this is actually a control thing. She's saying, I want to be the person in charge. I want to be the person to give him that dessert. Like the screens, I want to be the person to watch a movie with him. Like, kids barely watch films at school. That's saved for like rainy days and fun days that they have sometimes in the winter. But it's funny, I think it's a control thing, because I then just recently saw a clip of her as I'm editing, and she's having, in her words, a midlife crisis or whatever, about the fact that her routine's going to be thrown out and she isn't going to be able to do whatever she wants because her child is going to be going to school.
That I think I might be going through like a quarter life crisis. People keep asking me like, oh, how come you don't have Jude in like school, or like, oh my gosh, you know what, school? I am petrified of him going to school because it means I'm tied to the school run, and I feel like I'm like questioning everything, and I feel really unsettled at the minute because I feel like all my possibilities are coming crumbling down. I'm like, what if I want to study something? What if I want to become a doctor? You know, what if I want to go study again? What if I want to travel South America?
Just at this point, homeschool. She seems like the perfect candidate for homeschooling. She should just homeschool. I don't understand why she is dragging us like this so much when she clearly doesn't want to send her child to school.
You think that you're using your brain, right? But you're not, because you're not thinking about everyone else in this equation. And the amount of teachers that I've come across on this app who are coming on and they're saying, some of these kids, that is A, the only hot meal they'll get, B, the only proper filling meal. And we would much rather have kids that are actually going to be able to learn. You know, a fed child is going to operate the best at school. Okay? Some of these kids don't get anything outside of school. And you might think like, oh, that's bean soup theorying it. No, because you'd be really, really, really shocked at the amount of kids that rely on that, whose parents rely on that. Okay, this is the thing. And I'm just going to say this one more time. She does not have children who go to school yet.
Children don't receive a sticky toffee pudding
every day for their lunch. I know in our school and in most primary schools in the UK, desserts are rotated on a menu basis, and they are always consistent with yogurt, fruit cakes. Yes, on a Friday they might have ice cream or they might have a cake, but is that so wrong? They are portioned appropriately based on the age of the children. They have high nutritional value. They are balanced meals. And I think it is so vital that the children that need those meals get them.
And what is so funny, so there is the like holistic retreat thing she's got going on with her husband. So people went onto the website and found the kids menu in their brassiere or whatever, and found that they do in fact serve sugary desserts. Shock, horror.
These are all clickable. So if I click on that, see our brassiere. There we go, brassiere. No offense, brassiere. We don't want you. No. We want to go down here. Valentine's Day eating. I know all of this is like, you know, this is old. They need to update the website. Notice that, you know, this is clickable. We can look at the menu there. Okay, this really needs sorting out, but you see what I mean? Click. What happens when we... No? Oh, I can click more over here? Oh, that's interesting. So the one that you can't click on, oh, this website is just not great, is the kids menu.
And whilst we're on the topic as well, she then goes after parents who choose to feed their kids like the snack food, any food that's made for kids, like the snack, the pouches, the jars, the da-da-da. Now, I'll be honest, I always made my own baby food, but I'd never looked down on people who decided not to. Okay, I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't say, okay, well, we're just going to blanket ban, because once again, it's a, you know, we should not be feeding this to our kids. We should blanket ban all of these jars and all of these things for our kids, instead of coming at it from the approach of we should have classes that are rolled out, in our case, rolled out by the NHS, which are teaching parents how to make their own baby food for cheap. Wouldn't that be a better idea? But because, by the way, she came on and she said, oh yeah, I grabbed a pouch and I felt so bad about it. It's like, do you not like realise like what you're saying?
Delicious wafers and like, ooh, a chicken casserole in a little squirty thing. I hate them. I really hate them. I think they want it to be so easy for us. They want it to be so convenient for us that we buy them every day and we feed them to our kids because it's healthy and it's an easy way to, you don't have to make them a chicken casserole. Like, it's full of crap. And I think it's really harsh on their palate then when they have something really textured in their mouth. I used to give Jude pouches back in the day. He used to have pouches very rarely. And even then, when I looked into the ingredients, I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to give him this stuff ever. And it just annoys me because I think we need to give kids real food. And actually, there doesn't need to be a like kids section necessarily. Like, we can just give them a carrot, or we can give them cucumber, or we can give them an apple, or we can give them a pear.
Because for some parents, that is the option, okay? They don't have the time, or they were never taught how to make their own, or they don't have the means, whatever the case may be. Putting out these blanket statements is just so boring. Also, those like little Gruffalo biscuit things that you can get for your kids, my kids love them. And those little like baby rice cakes as well. Once again, I'm not going to sit at home and try and make that, and good luck trying to feed a small child a actual rice cake, because that's a choking hazard, my love. And the cherry on top of the crap sundae was when really recently she came out and she was talking about Calpol. Now, Calpol's like paracetamol, which is low level painkillers. Yeah, you can give it to children. Paracetamol, there is always paracetamol. There's always tickly cough syrup. There's always Vicks. I always keep it like most parents. I keep a backup because you never know. They wake up and they're sick. Nothing you can do about it half the time. You just gotta let them ride it out unless they get really sick and they go in. But I always make sure to give them some Calpol. Miss Montana here does not believe in Calpol.
I personally don't like Calpol. I don't use it with my kids. My reason being is that all of the research and stuff that I've read is that obviously a temperature is an immune response to a virus being in the body, and that is the only way that the body can then stop the virus from multiplying. So it's obviously got a very legit reason why the body's doing that. When Jude had his temperature, I think it was like 40 degrees, and obviously that's a really high temperature. And if he was like floppy, in and out of consciousness, and I felt that he was like, he was seriously ill, I would have taken him to A&E straight away. I don't think I'm a negligent parent, because I'm not. But he was still eating. I fed him a homemade soup. I gave him some homeopathic tinctures. I put him to bed. I was so anxious putting him to bed because I was worried he was going to get worse. He woke up, no temperature. It was wild. With Calpol, the issue I have is that I feel like people use it when their kids have a temperature, which I completely understand, but then you're not letting your body actually kill the viruses. So then it multiplies, and normally they then end up getting worse rather than better.
She always says that she is using these homeopathic remedies, homeopathic medicine. It's an alternative medical system developed in the 1790s based on the principles of like cures, like using highly diluted substances that cause symptoms to treat those same symptoms, and the law of minimum dose, where increasing dilution theoretically increases potency. I'm just reading this out because me trying to explain all of this would be an absolute nightmare. But yes, it is legal in the UK. Homeopathic medicine is legal to buy and use in the UK, but it is not routinely funded by the NHS. Anyone can legally practice as a homeopath, though practitioners and products are subject to strict advertising and regulatory guidelines.
But now I feel pretty confident about using the homeopathic tinctures, and they work really, really well.
The issue comes in when she says their child had a 40-degree temperature. She didn't see it as like an issue or like as a concern, didn't even bother trying to take them to the doctors, but says that instead, like, she could have given them Calpol during that moment, but she didn't give them Calpol during that moment because she believes that Calpol, like, in the long run, is going to make things a hell of a lot worse for them. Not quite understanding that all Calpol was doing is just blocking out certain receptors so that, you know, your symptoms lessen, but it's not so much actually fighting the infection or fighting whatever's going on. It's just lessening your symptoms, but she's not quite understanding this. Someone said, as a nurse, stop sharing medical advice online when you are not a medical professional. This is dangerous advice. Someone else said, nurse, you're right that fever is an immune response and Calpol contains paracetamol. Paracetamol can bring down a temp, but please don't withhold Calpol because of this. There's no reliable evidence that shows paracetamol worsens outcomes. The most important thing is to keep your child as comfortable as you can. Please stop sharing your own medical opinions online. It's just dangerous and not helpful to anyone. This is the reasoning why people call her the Katie Hopkins of the crunchy mumverse. More people. A 40-degree temperature is serious. Children cannot regulate their temperature like adults can. Someone else said, are you actually okay? I'm a registered nurse. This is such dangerous advice to give mums and dads. Someone else said, 40 degrees and you didn't administrate alcohol. Oh, Calpol. And just put into bed. Dangerous. Montana said, that's my thoughts on this. I prefer to take a more holistic approach, and I know everyone's different, but it works for me and my family.
I think, like, the key thing is that I just believe that mums know their kids best. Like, he had a 40-degree temperature, but was able to eat. He was playing. Yes, he was more clingy. I could tell he was ill because he was hot. Like I said in the previous video, if he had been floppy, sleeping all day, any of those kind of symptoms, and I felt like it was more serious, then I obviously would have escalated it / gone to any straight away. So I just didn't want to jump the gun. Like, I wanted to see if he could fight off whatever it was himself with the help of some homeopathic tinctures, which I have to say were amazing.
Thing is, it's normally, and I don't know this for absolute certain, but it's normally the same people who never practiced what they are currently preaching. So, like, their parents didn't do this for them, for instance. Like, their parents would have given them Calpol, their parents would have taken this and there, you know, their parents would have allowed them to have screens, their parents would have given them sugar. I don't know, it's like the same people. It is super annoying because some people are literally going to take that like full on face value. I don't know if she believes in vaccinating her children. I don't really want to know at this point. But all I do know is that that was not a good look for her. And to say that if her kid was floppy and in and out of consciousness, she would then take them to the ER, she would get there and they would give that child Calpol or something stronger. Okay, so I don't understand, like, I don't understand. Usually, like, I've had to take my child to A&E before, and the first thing they ask is, oh, have you given them any Calpol? As in, like, a good thing. Like, oh, did you administer them any? Would you like some? Anyone who, like, anyone who's been in that situation knows that is generally what happens.
I've seen this wonderful TikTok video where I've seen this mixed race woman say she doesn't know one black woman who knows how to swim, voluntarily wants to learn how to swim, or would go into an ocean to swim because we all wear wigs and weaves and we wouldn't want it to get dirty. Okay. Hi Montana, my name is Honey Renee and I want to show you that this is me swimming in Lanzarote last October.
Oh, the fourth offence, she actually genuinely deleted this video because it was that bad. So not long ago, tragically, 3 black women went swimming in Brighton, or on Brighton Beach, and they never came out. A lot of people are saying it was a current, it was choppy tides. They never came out, and they were pronounced dead. Okay, horrible situation. And Montana comes on, and she says basically alluding to the fact that she thinks it's deeply suspicious because, in her own words, she doesn't know one black person who would willingly get in the water because of their weave or because of their wig or because of their braids. She doesn't know one black person that swims. Quite literally generalizing races at this point.
I don't know if you saw this news story about 3 black sisters who died in the sea in Brighton, and it's been deemed as not suspicious and no third party. 3 black women have gone into the sea to swim and they've just randomly died. I'm just not buying it at all. And as soon as I read it, I got chills because for me, I don't know, one black person who, 1, can swim, 2, would voluntarily go swimming, 3, wants to get their weave, plaits, braids, like wig, wet and dirty. Like, it's just so, to me, it's just completely unbelievable.
I don't even know how to respond because, like, what exactly are we actually doing?
And people were absolutely furious. And can you understand what I mean by the fact that she takes one thing and either goes to a huge generalization? So with this case, it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't know one single black person that goes in the water, therefore none of them do, and this is a complete cover-up. The sugar thing. Okay, well, I hear that sugar's not good for you, so we're just going to ban it for kids entirely. To screens. I read something that prolonged screen time is not good for development. Therefore, we should take away, like, no IT for 4 to 5-year-olds. You see what I mean? Like, she's got to go to the absolute extreme. Like, oh, my child is sick, I'm not going to give them Calpol at all. Like, she does things to the absolute extreme, which a lot of people classify as rage bait. And Montana is mixed race. She has both Jamaican and Japanese heritage. And I can really, really, really see people's frustration in this. I was trying to look at it from an element of maybe she was trying to highlight the fact that people were so quick to say, oh, well, it was obviously like a drowning death. It was obviously death. There was no foul play here. You know, being so quick to sweep it underneath the rug, because they were, you know, racially biased. There's racism going on. I understand if that is kind of where her mind was going, because I'll be honest with you, in situations like this, it's always best to be skeptical, to err on the side of, like, really look into what reports are telling you and what, you know, really look into it. Fully get that. She could have said that. She could have said, do we think? Okay, could have done that. But no, instead what she did is she basically just went, well, I don't know a single black person that can swim. I don't know a single black person that likes getting in the water. Therefore, it didn't happen.
But I just find it really interesting. The press is like, oh, you know, they died. And, you know, the police are looking into it.
I went snorkeling to look at the turtles in Thailand. Guys, if you haven't been snorkeling in Thailand, no matter what colour you are, you've got to go. And saying that there must be some sort of foul play going on because no black people swim and it's completely unheard of for black women to swim. Some of us do swim, I love to swim, and yes, our swimming rates are not as high as other communities. But to say that you know no black person who swims, hi, nice to meet you. It's true that my hair was an absolute state of affairs after I went snorkeling, and I did have to rescue it, and yes, that was a faff, but it didn't stop me. My hair doesn't stop me from doing anything. Most of my family members swim, I believe. Anyway, no disrespect to Montana, but I had to say something about this one.
Just because you don't know a single black person that goes swimming does not mean that there aren't black people that go swimming. Like, yeah, I didn't like that as soon as I heard it, because no matter what her point that she was trying to make was, whether she really did intend it to be, you know, highlighting a deeper issue, that is completely overshadowed by the fact that you just made a sweeping generalized statement. And so many people on TikTok were calling her out, mostly black women, who were literally posting themselves being like, hey, yeah, we swim.
So now I don't want to drag anyone online because I know that online bullying is a real thing. But when we make sweeping statements about a whole race of people, it's a bit. But why I do like understand where you're coming from is because you have said you don't know one black person. So it's not that they aren't black people, but you, in your lived experience, don't know one black person. So I've just introduced you to me, Beyonce, Naomi Campbell, and my baby and my nephew.
Once again, it's just the fact that I just don't think Montana is like present in the real world. She doesn't understand that there are people other than just her husband and her 2 kids. And this is the reasoning why she became the UK's most hated mum. She doesn't stop either. She carries on going. Now, whether or not she's saying this for clickbait, I think there's a part of it that's going to be rage bait, but also, like, why would you ruin your reputation over this? Because she was actually quite well liked. From my own understanding, she was not that disliked.
And when I say not that disliked, I mean for a Love Islander. Because Love Islanders, especially over here, it's like people want to watch them, but also when they come out, they are just a little bit annoying. Like when they come out of the villa.
And she's got this really good hotel business that could expand and could do this and that. Why would anyone chuck that away just to waste time rage baiting people on social media? Because rage baiting only gets you so far. She doesn't actually get like an amazing ton of views. So rage baiting only gets you so far in this instance. I think these are her viewpoints. I also think that she does reiterate and reinstate them a lot for the algorithm, but I do believe that this is genuinely what she thinks. The thing is that some of the things that she's saying could have a good message behind it. You know, I don't disagree that we should be, you know, we should be feeding our kids less sugar. I agree. I think we should be feeding our kids less sugar. I also agree that we shouldn't be putting them in front of screens all the time. But I also understand that there are many caveats to these things and that life is not one singular path, right? There's many different layers to this, and there's many different people on this planet, and you have to take into account all the varying factors, and she just can't do that. She literally cannot do that. She cannot see outside of her box. And do you really want that kind of person influencing masses? Not particularly, but that's just what I think. What do you guys think about the situation? If you are from the UK, how are you holding up with the heat wave? It's really beautiful. It's really lovely. I love this. I love filming in the late afternoon and sweating. It's fantastic. But I hope you guys are all doing well in this heat wave and you're all keeping safe. Okay, if you're not from here, I hope that wherever you are, because we're not the only place getting a heat wave, you guys are also hanging on in there. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. You take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.